Good evening once again. This is S.K. Ghosh. I would like to welcome each and every one of you to this second offering of our training program for uh, re- registered structural engineer candidates. We launched the program on Tuesday. I think we got off to a good start. However, unfortunately, totally unexpected problems have come up about the same time. Dr. Rakib was supposed to deliver the second lecture yesterday, and it was supposed to be Introduction to the Design Provisions of BNBC 2020. Dr. Rakib is indisposed and he is also abroad. Communication with him is difficult, so his ability to deliver lectures in the very near future is in question. So we had no choice but to postpone yesterday's session. We have instead advanced a session that was scheduled for much later in the program with the willing cooperation of Ms. Negar Khanna, and I will introduce her in a second. After today, there were 8 steel courses scheduled. The schedule that has been posted on our PRP portal shows Professor Amanat of BUET as the speaker of all 8 sessions. However, since, in fairly recent times, Dr. Amanat has been given additional responsibilities at BUET. So he told us that he had difficulty delivering all 8 of the sessions. So the sessions were divided up between Dr. Rakib and him. The plan was for Dr. Rakib to do the first 3 of the 8 courses and for Dr. Amanat to do the other 5. Now that Dr. Rakib is temporarily out of the picture, we are still working out what to do about the 8 courses. I will be communicating with you in probably later today, latest tomorrow, via email, and there will be a posting on our PRP portal. So please look for it. I assure you that we are working our very hardest to make sure that there is a minimum of disruption to the program that we planned. All sessions will be delivered as close as possible to when they were scheduled. And so please be a little patient with us. The circumstances are obviously beyond our control. And given the circumstances, we are trying to do the best we can. When it became clear that Dr. Rakib could not speak yesterday, we approached Ms. Negar Khanna, who was supposed to speak on the electronic construction permitting system of Rajuk on the 22nd of February. She was truly gracious and agreed to do her session today. I cannot tell you how grateful I am to her. She truly was an angel. I cannot tell you how nice she was about the whole thing, and I know that she has put herself to considerable inconvenience. anyway, Nigar is the national project manager for another component of the urban resilience project dealing with the very important electronic construction permitting system. I think without taking any more of your time, uh, we will bring Nigar on. I'm sure you will enjoy her presentation and benefit from it. And I will communicate with you further in writing as I mentioned to you. Okay, thank you very much, and Nigar Khanna, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Dr. S.K. Ghosh. It's my pleasure, sir.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, everybody. This is Nigar Sultana Kona. I am National Project Manager of Urban Resilience Project S07 Component, RTI International, USA. Today I am here to talk about ECPS. Though it is limited time, only 3 hours, but I hope I will clear about ECPS in front of you. Please bear in me and my presentation another 3 hours. Before starting my presentation, I would like to thank Engineer Abdul Latif Helali, our Honorable PD Sir, whose strong leadership, mission and vision brought us together in an umbrella to build a better and resilient city. ECPS is the perfect reflection and example of his dream. I would like to thank Mr. Aminur Rahman Shumon, DPD of this project, and Senior Executive Khandokar Wahid Sadiq Shubhai. Your dynamic and decision-making capacity help us to move this project forward. I also thank you, my Rajuk and PIU colleagues, who gave us tremendous support in this bumpy road that never be forgotten. Thank you again for joining after this office hour. I thank all the professional bodies, namely IAB, IEB, IDEB, ADAB. They provide us incredible and unconditional support, especially Engineer Sheikh Tajul Islam Tuhin Bhai, Jalal Sir, Mamnun Bhai, Nurul Huda Sir, Jobar Bhai, and so on. I also thank you, Dr. S.K. Ghosh, for creating this platform for me to talk about ECPS. I am grateful to Shahidul Alam sir, for his support and giving me the opportunity to talk about ECPS. Finally, I would like to thank Mr. Rudro for his wonderful support and kind assistance all the time. However, I really grateful and honored to present ECPS in front of you in the audience. Let me start my presentation. First, I would like to talk about what is
Nigar,
ECPS system.
sorry to interrupt you. So I'm getting some comments on the in the Q&A saying that the sound is a bit low. Can you speak
Oh,
up a bit loud or something like? Can you just come closer to the screen? Maybe that will
okay.
help. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Yeah. Continue.
No, it's okay. Thank you. Okay. Let me start my presentation. Why and what is ECPS system? So, what is ECPS system? ECPS system is electronic construction permitting system. It is a fully automation system for Rajuk workflows and other activities. So ECPS system is very important for those persons who are working or functioning in Rajuk and relevant fields, including designated professionals, architect, engineer, structural engineer, diploma engineer, external organization, for example, FSCD, Department of Environment, KPI, third-party organization, and so on for NOC purpose. Now, in the next slide, overview of ECPS system. What we are going to learn in this training session. We will come to know the features of ECPS system, the process flows, functionality, different type of roles in ECPS system, professional bodies interaction in ECPS system, inspection checklist, and after this training session, there would be a quiz session, and Mr. Rudra will help you or assist you to participate in the quiz section, but this is not the part of this 3 hours training session. After the session, you can participate in the quiz. Now, the workflows and major features of ECPS system. In this session, we came to know different type of workflows, understand the roles and responsibilities of ECPS system, and the incredible features of ECPS system. For example, registration process for applicant and the professionals, integration with NID, IEB, IAB, IDEB, ADAB membership database, incorporate digital signature, online payment facilities for applicants, automatic zone and subzone setup, overview of fast remote control monitoring system, which is called FRCM, risk and structural evaluation tool for plan checking, request NOC from external organization, for example, Fire Service and Civil Defense, National Housing Authority, Department of Environment, key point installation, and other relevant organization. Review from internal departments of Rajuk, like State Department, Law, Architecture, Planning, etc. Third-party vetting for BNBC compliance, plan checking and inspection. Overview of audit rate and record management. Now I would like to introduce you the process flow of ECPS system. There are almost 12 process flows in ECPS system. So the first flow is application preparation, then land use clearance and land use renewal. Land use clearance appeal. There are two types of appeal for LUC. One is appeal to chairman and second is appeal to board of secretary. Construction permitting system, special project, appeal for construction permit and special project, level completion certificate and inspection, and finally occupancy certificate. Now the registration process, how we registered in ECPS system. So there are three categories users are working in ECPS system or will be working in ECPS system. First one is applicant or individual person, second professional, third Rajuk officers or concerned. URL of ECPS system is ecp.uru.gov.bd, ecp.uru.gov.bd. So here you can see an image, create a new account, and two of the hyperlink is here, registration as individual, registration as professional. So I will be talk about details in the next slide. Now, how can an applicant or individual person can register in the system? First, they will click on registration as individual. Then a form will be appeared just like this form. So here you can see national ID, date of birth. So an applicant who wants to register in this system, they put their national ID in this national ID field and then date of birth according to their NID. And after that, they will click on verify, and the other information like first name, middle name, last name, and gender will be appeared as per the NID information. And this information is totally fetched from the Election Commission database. Nobody can invoke or miss or wrong information. They cannot enter it in this system. If they entered any wrong information, for example, wrong NID, then the system will inform them this is not the perfect or actual NID or date of birth. After that, user will enter the password and then confirm password. and click on registered, then they can easily successfully register in ECPS system. This is the process for applicant or individual registration process. Now I'm moving on the next slide, that is for professional registration.
Yeah. Can you hear me? So
Yes.
there are a lot of comments from the from the attendees that they are not able to hear you properly. So can you just quickly go to the video with me?
Okay. So
Just
what about now? Is it clear? My voice is clear?
yeah, the voice is clear. There is no problem, but you are speaking a bit softly, so it is difficult to hear you. It is
Okay.
not very yeah loud. That's the thing.
Okay.
So if you go to your audio and video and speaker and microphone,
It is all high. So no
it
problem.
is all
This
high.
time, yeah, this time I will talk a little bit louder and remind me when I will go, a little bit lower. Just uh, speak up. Just tell me speak
Okay,
up.
okay,
I will be louder.
okay. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Nagar. Yeah.
Now, I want to talk about the professional registration process. So you can see there is a hyperlink registration as professional. And when a user click on this button, then this form will be appeared. There is a membership norm, role types, and then verify. And according to this information, this above, this below information will be filled up. So membership norm, it come from the IAB, IEB, IDEB, ADAB, or other professional database. So when they enter their membership norm and the respective role types, for example, membership norm is C underscore or dash 105 role architect or role engineer, and then click on verify. Then their date of birth, first name, middle name, last name, and email, gender will be appeared as per the database. Then they will enter their password and then confirm password. They will successfully registered in the system. So this is the process of professional registration. Now I'm coming to the Rajuk officer or concerns registration, how they will register in ECPS system. So actually, when a new employee joined in Rajuk, they will provide their information to system admin, and the system admin will create their account for access ECPS system. It is a default account. They will enter their username and password, and then they will provide their credential to the respective employee. Then the employee will join and they will first see their respective dashboard and change their password accordingly. So here I have shared the screen. You see how Rajuk officers will get their credential, and system admin will help them how to create this. Here you can see all user, then registered new user, and then this form will appear. System admin will enter the username, email, password, and the porter role. After that, registration. Then they will create employee account. So this is the process for Rajuk user. Now ECPS login. After successful registration, user will log in ECPS system through this login form. For better view, I just kept it in small image. User will use their username, password, and click on OK for successful login. Otherwise, there are some few functionalities are here that is basically same as the other website as well. For example, if anyone forgot their password, they can retrieve their password by clicking on forgot password. As well as keep me signed in. If anyone avoid to enter their username and password all the time, they can click keep me signed in and log in the system. And also, if anyone is not registered in the system, can go to the login page and they can easily register through the login page as well. Let's go to the next slide. In this slide, I would like to introduce you the role of ECPS system. Right now, we have almost 58 roles, and you can see there are several roles are mentioned in ECPS system already. And it is very easy process to create a role, and this role will be created by system admin. Now I'm moving in next slide. Step-by-step process flows of ECPS system. As I mentioned, our first process flow is application preparation. So let's start with that. And who are the person to work in this application preparation process, and what is the functionalities. So the role of this application preparation process is for LUC, applicant, landowner. Applicant and landowner is the same person, or maybe someone who is designated from that landowner point of view. Help desk or front desk, this is for land use clearance. And for construction permit, the role will be applicant, landowner, designated professionals, help or front desk for construction permit. Now, what is the functionalities? Applicant will input primary information of land such as application, ownership, and attach necessary documents for land use clearance. And the same type of information they will enter in construction permit as well. But the difference is in construction permit, they mean the land use, the landowner or the applicant. They will send the invitation to the designated professional, architect, mechanical engineer, engineer, plumber, or any other engineer, structural engineer, etc., to create a focal point. Respective professional will accept the invitation through their email and become a part of the focal point or team. So all of these professionals will accomplish their task and attest drawing or reports with a digital signature and submit to applicant. Applicant will review and complete online payment. After payment, applicant will send the application with digitally signed to front desk for review. And in the last stage of application preparation, front desk will scrutinize all the application, the information, the attached drawing and attached other documents, and forward to TTP or authorized officer. If the application is correct, that means if there is no mistake in the attached drawing, or there is no misinformation or wrong information, then they will accept the information. They will accept the application. Otherwise, if there is any mismatch in information or wrong attachment, then they will revert the application to the applicant for further correction or clarification. Now, I would like to talk about how to create a focal point. So, as I mentioned earlier, this focal point is for the professional bodies. And this focal point is created by the landowner or the applicant. So, how he or she will create a focal point? Here you can see in this form, there is a button called invite team member. So when anyone click in there, any applicant, then this form will appear. Here they will enter the role. The role means architect, engineer, plumber, or structural engineer, or other engineer that is enlisted in this system. And then they will enter the membership norm. That means T-105, K-55, etc. and click on next. Then the information will be appeared, and that information will be fetched from that respective professional database. And then applicant will send the invitation and the respective professional bodies will receive it in their emails, and they can log in or restart. If they are not logging in the system yet, they will restart the system through the email, or if they are already registered, they will log in the system in ECPS system, and they will accept the invitation. So let's move on next. Earlier I have described the process flow of application preparation. Now I would like to show you the graphical representation of this application preparation process flow. This is the same. I won't take too much time. You can see the applicant. Applicant will fill up the application. Then he or she will create a focal point, and the focal point will receive the invitation. Then applicant will select them for their professional body to work in this project. Then they will work, they will attach their drawing, they will input their information and send it to the applicant. After complete everything, applicant will submit their fees, online payment, and then they will signature the file and submit to the front desk. Here you can see front desk. Front desk will review the application, and if there is no mistake or wrong information or wrong attachment, then front desk will accept the application. Otherwise, if there is misinformation or wrong attachment, then they will send back it to applicant, and applicant will correct it and resubmit to the front desk. Now we'll move on the next process flow. Next process flow, land use clearance. This is one of the major process flow in our Rajuk system. Who are the person work in this LUC? LUC, land use clearance. First, deputy town planner, assistant town planner, surveyor, tracer, compliance authority. And depend on the situation and scenery, other respectable departments and person will play their vital role, namely some internal departments of Rajuk, law department, state department, town planning, architectural, and management. By the way, I can take 2 minutes, and I want to ask Mr. Rudro, is there any complaint they are not listening me, or my voice is lower?
There are not many, but your voice is still low. I would request all the participants to increase your volume at your end or use a headphone or something. Uh, the voice is low, but it is clear. So just try to increase your volume or get in a silent environment, and that would help. Thank you, Nigar. You can continue. Yeah. So
Thank you.
you are speaking quite well. Just be close to the mic. That will also help.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Now I want to move to the functionalities, how it works. So as I have already described in application preparation process, the front desk user, they will accept the application if there is no error or there is no mistake. So when they accept the application, that means the application is directly submitted to the DTP if it is LOC. DTP will receive the application and assign to ATP. And here I cannot mention everything because it would be very, very large. But in process flow, DTP has another functionalities in this step too. Like DTP will also have the ability to send the clarification to applicant for further clarification or correction. Now, DTP, otherwise DTP will assign to ATP for moving forward. So ATP will verify the file and then assign to surveyor and then tracer. The application will get back to DTP, follow the similar bottom-up hierarchy. That means tracer and surveyor will work on their part, and then they will submit the application to ATP, and ATP will verify all of the information that has been surveyed and attested in that file. And then if ATP has any recommendation for DTP, for example, to verify NOC or need additional NOC, then he or she will recommend to Deputy Town Planner in the comment section. DTP will receive the file that sent by ATP, and in this stage, DTP will have a lot of functionalities. For example, if he wants, then he can revert the file to ATP again for further survey or further information. If DTP wants, then he can also send the file to again applicant for more clarification, or DTP can send the file to any external organization for NOC purpose. And then in case of NOC, if ATP or DTP thinks they need NOC, then DTP will send the application to respectable organization. For after that, DTP will sign the file. He can make two type of decision. One is for approval, another is for rejection. And then he will make digital sign and send it to the applicant. Now, this is the graphical representation. It is very tiny, I know that. That's why I try to make another slide for you, but it's also not so good because the resolution. Let me show you a little bit more about this process. You can see Deputy Town Planner, and here is the review and assign. His work will start from here. And there is also, you can see that DTP has ability to send the file to applicant for more clarification, and then applicant will send back to DTP directly. And at the same time, if there is no clarification is needed from applicant, he can directly send the file to Assistant Town Planner, and Assistant Town Planner will scrutinize the file, then send it to surveyor and tracer. And the same way, tracer and surveyor will send back to the file to Assistant Town Planner. And Assistant Town Planner, ATP, will send back to the file to DTP. DTP will view the report, and he can do many things in this stage that I mentioned in this functionality earlier. So you can see a lot of cobweb right now. The green one is the optional, and the red one is the mandatory. So there's a lot more departmental here for optional. If DTP wants more information from law department, state department, or architecture department, or member planning, so he has the ability to send the file to them. Otherwise, DTP can ask further clarification from applicant. You can see there is a hand in here. And if everything is fine, then DTP will send the decision to the applicant. And the decision is two types. One is approval, another is rejection. If there is no misinformation, wrong information, or any gap of information, then DTP will send the approval to the applicant, and applicant will directly get the approval from ECPS system from their dashboard. Okay, let's move on the next one. So there are more information which is really very important that has been taken from BNBC. Validity of permits from date of issuance. According to the clause 3.2, volume 1, part 2, chapter 3. Land use certificate for 24 months. That means 2 years. After that, if they not start their construction permit, they will again renew their process. And disposal of application according to the clause 3.5 BNBC volume 1 part 2 chapter 3, land use clearance maximum time to issue a land use clearance will be taken 15 days. Now the second process, third process, which is construction permit. This is also one of the major process of ECPS. So let's get in this process, who is working in this process and what is the functionalities. So the role in this construction permit process, the main roles are authorized officer, assistant authorized officer, chief inspector, inspector, and building committee. And the other roles, they would be played in, depend on the situation and the circumstances. For example, they are compliance authority, law department, DTP, third party, state department, architectural department, and the management. Now, what is the functionalities? For construction permit, we hope that applicant will apply in this system for collecting all the documents, including the NOC. And if there is no problem in their file or in the information, then they will send it to the front desk. Front desk will accept it. After the acceptation of front desk, the file will be automatically comes to the authorized officer. Front desk will never select the authorized officer because the system is designed zone and subzone wise. So authorized officer will receive the application and read the information, and then if he wants, then he can also send the applicant for more clarification. Otherwise, he can send the application to assistant authorized officer. Now, assistant authorized officer will receive the file, read the file, see the file, and assign the file to chief inspector. And here there are also another activities he or she will do. There are three types of building category. One is low risk, another is low rise, and the last one is high rise. So if assistant authorized officer find that this building is low risk, then he or she will send the file directly to authorized officer, and authorized officer has the power or ability to approve this file. That means he or she can reject or approve the file. This file, low risk building category, this file will not need to send to the building committee. And the same process, when the file is reject or approve, user will notified through the ECPS system from their dashboard. Now in the next slide. Okay, if the building category is not low risk, then assistant authorized officer will assign the file to chief inspector, and chief inspector will verify the file and then send to the inspector. Inspector will have lot of things to do in this stage. Inspector will personally visit the site. They will take photo, they will take image of that particular area, they will fill up inspection report or inspection checklist. Then they will attach their checklist to the file and send it to the send it to the chief inspector. Chief inspector will review everything that has included by inspector. If chief inspector found any anomalies, or if he or she thinks that the information is not cleared, then he or she can send the file to inspector, and there is no certain limit, 1 time or 3 times this loop will be continued. Whatever the file is not cleared or need more information, chief inspector can send the file again and again to inspector. But this everything will be recorded in ECPS system. How many times this loop is going to the inspector and what was the reason. Then if the report is cleared, then chief inspector will send the file to assistant authorized officer. Assistant authorized officer will verify every information that has provided by inspector and chief inspector. And then authorized officer will have another things to do in this sector. He or she can recommend authorized officer about the NOC for external user, or they can also do RISE checklist, but it is totally optional in this phase. Now, assistant authorized officer will send the file to authorized officer, and authorized officer will review every comments, every information that was sent from inspector, chief inspector, and assistant authorized officer. And he has many activities in this stage. If he wants, then he can send this file to the NOC department for verifying the respective NOC that has provided by the applicant, or he or she can send the file to internal departments for further verification. Here, further verification means land related verification, finance related verification, or other circumstances. But the main activities authorized officer will do, that is the file will be sent to the BC committee. And here there are two types of BC committee. One BC committee is for low-rise building, which is mentioned in BNBC, which is 8 floor, less than 8 floor is considered as low-rise building, and 8 floor and more than 8 floor is considered as high-rise building. And this BC committee is different type of BC committee for low-rise and for high-rise. And after the review of BC committee and their comments, authorized officer will check every comments and make the decision for approve or rejection. But it is also totally depend on the BC committee. According to their support, authorized officer will send the letter to the respective applicant, and before that he will sign the application, which is digitally signed. And there is also provision, if authorized officer wants more clarification, then this is also possible from this stage too. And another new process, this is the first time Rajuk has introduced, that is third party provision. If authorized officer think that we need another round of inspection, then they can send this file to third party. Primarily, the third party will verify the BNBC compliance. For example, if the file has mentioned, in the design it has mentioned 3 walls, they will check it is 3 or not, and other information like that. So I'm moving forward then. Okay, I have completed all of those processes here. Now, I would like to introduce how this third party is working in ECPS system currently. You can see the manager, authorized officer, he has the provision to send the file to third party, request third party. Not only third party, there are other options too, but I'm focusing this because this is the new features which is introduced in this system. And there are some category or criteria who would be that third party, what would be their qualification, and that is also mentioned in another packages, and I'm sure it will also be clear to you when that information will be coming in another training. Now, this is the visual or graphical representation of this construction permit. I already elaborated and explained everything, but I want to show you the process because you can see this is a very and large and huge process, and I'm sorry it is not cleared because the resolution. And here I already mentioned the authorized officer. The process will start from here. The authorized officer, he will receive, review, and then he has provision to send the application to applicant. And if it is related to the design, then applicant will send the file to the appointed designated professional, and from there the applicant will receive it, and then applicant will directly send it to the authorized officer. Here you can notice that applicant and the authorized officer has a communication, and there is no intersection between here for front desk or help desk. And after that, authorized officer can send the file to assistant authorized officer, and in this step there is a low risk project. If assistant authorized officer think it is a low risk project, then he will send a file to authorized officer, and authorized officer will take decision for reject or approval and send back to the applicant. Otherwise, if it is not low risk project, then it will go back to the chief inspector, and inspector will verify the file and go to the site and inspect everything. And you can see there's a loop. The loop will be continued until the report is not cleared, and then chief inspector will submit the application to assistant authorized officer. Assistant authorized officer will verify each and every information and recommend if there is NOC is needed or not, then send back to the authorized officer. And you can see a lot of links are there. The green one is optional. If authorized officer thinks that he needs internal comments or suggestion, then he can send it to the state department, law department, architecture department, and here is also third party I have mentioned already, and compliance authority. And the mandatory part is authorized officer will send the file to building committee. If there is a building committee which is below 8th floor, then it is considered at low rise, and the file is submitted to the low rise building committee. And if it is 8 and more than 8th floor, then it is considered in high rise, and the file will be submitted to high rise building committee. And from their comments and decision, authorized officer will prepare the letter for applicant approval or rejection, and applicant will receive the file from their respective dashboard. So this is the graphical view of construction permit. I am moving to the next process flow. Oh, sorry, before that, I would like to talk about the process flow we have described earlier. The building permit for validity of permits, the date of issuance, which is mentioned in BNBC volume 1 part 2 chapter 3, building permit 36 months, which is 3 years. Disposal of application according to the clause 3.5, which is also taken from BNBC volume 1 part 2 chapter 3, building permit maximum time 45 days. So if anyone applied for construction permit, to issue the construction permit, it will take maximum 45 days. Fees according to the clause 3.7 BNBC volume 1 part 2, every fees they have mentioned clearly for CP, for LOC, for level completion and other fees, everything is cleared in that section. And there is also other information that is reflected in ECPS system, and that is taken from BNBC application for permit according to the clause 3.4 BNBC volume 1 part 2. Under the clause, section 3.4.1, 2, 3, 4 clearly mention the information of application for permit. Also, preparation and signature of drawing according to the clause 3.6 BNBC volume 1 part 2 chapter 3. In this clause, section 3.6.1, 3.6.2, 3.6.3 specifically mentioned the eligible criteria for registered or licensed professional for signing of design, drawing, reports, and documents. There are more information, the responsibilities and duties of owner according to the clause 3.8 BNBC volume 1 part 2 chapter 3. Under this clause, section 3.8.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9 represent all responsibilities and duties of owner. Responsibilities and duties of technical personnel according to the clause 3.9 BNBC volume 1 part 2 chapter 3. Under this clause 9.1, 3.9.1, 3.9.2, 3.9.3 depicts all the responsibilities and duties of technical personnel. Inspection according to the clause 3.10 BNBC volume 1 part 2 chapter 3. Under this clause, information of inspection has been taken place. Now, I would like to introduce another two process. One is the level completion certificate and another is the occupancy. Level completion or monitoring process is a brand new process for ECPS system that was never been in Rajuk, and this process flow is very important because we often saw that there is a deviation in this structure when applicant or landowner built any building, they easily deviate the design, and when a Rajuk officer or inspector saw that it is already late, that is why this monitoring process is very important, because in ECPS system, we have introduced level-wise certificate. So when any level, for example, ground level is completed, the landowner or applicant will apply in ECPS system to check the first level of his or her building. So Rajuk officer or inspector will visit to see this building, and according to the design, they will verify each information. If there is any deviation, then they will send a show cause letter or they will take any action according to the law. And except this facility, the other process is very similar to the construction permit. That's why I won't move this process again, because there are more processes are waiting in the list. So if I have time, then I would talk this level completion and monitoring process again. But it is really very similar to the construction permit, and occupancy certificate is also the similar process flow like construction permit. So I'm moving on the next process. Our next process is special project. Special project, the roles who will work in this project: Director Development Control, we are saying DDC, Deputy Town Planner, DTP, obviously Zonal Office, Large and Special Committee. So here we can see this committee is different, as we have seen that low risk, low rise and high rise. This is also different type of committee, large and special committee. And depend on the case, other department will also take vital role to play in this special project. So who are they? Deputy Director Development, Assistant Authorized Officer, Applicant, that means designated professionals, applicant and designated professionals. Now the functionalities. DDC will receive and review the application. This is also the similar process. Applicant will apply through ECPS system. This is application preparation process. And after application, then front desk will review the process, the file, and scrutinize all other information. If there is no problem, then front desk will accept the file. And for a special project, the file will be automatically sent to the deputy director, director development control, sir, will receive and review the application. As per the mandatory flow, DDC will directly send the application to the committee, large and special committee. But there are other options as well. Those are not the mandatory. I will talk in this graphical flow when I will represent a little bit later. Now, as per the mandatory process flow, committee will review and take decision about the application. That could be correction, approval, or rejection. After that, Director Development Control will obtain the decision of committee, review, and issue an approval or rejection letter to the applicant. Very similar process to construction permit or LOC. Here, DDC, and for construction permit, authorized officer, and for LOC, deputy town planner. On the other hand, if the decision is correction, then DDC will reach the applicant for clarification and correction. Now, the graphical flow. I will talk about this as I mentioned the earlier slide. Only the mandatory flow that has been there, but you can see there are other things Director Development Control can do. Okay, the process will start from here. Director Development Control. Director Development Control will review and receive the file from front desk. Then he can send the file to applicant for more clarification, and if it is related to the information, then applicant can submit it directly to the Director Development Control. If this is related to the design, then applicant will send the file to appointed designer. And after that, the designer will correct the design and send to applicant, and applicant will forward this file to Director Development Control. Now, you can see the green lines, that is optional. Here, Director Development Control, if wants, then he can send a file to Deputy Director Development Control for review and comments. Same way, Deputy Director Development Control can send a file to Assistant Officer, Town Planner, Assistant Authorized Officer for comments and check other information as well. But you can see those are the optional, but the mandatory flow, that is Director Development Control, will must send a file to large and special project committee. And here the committee has taken three type of decision. We'll take three type of decision. One is correction, approve, and rejection. And depend on the committee's decision, Director Development Control will issue a letter for applicant, which is approval or rejection. And in this stage, Director Development Control, if he wants more clarification from applicant, he has the opportunity to take that one too. And then after approval or rejection, applicant will receive the letter from DDC. If it is approved, then it's okay. But if it is rejected, then applicant has option to go for appeal process. And I will talk the appeal process in later on. Now we have covered special project as well. Now we are we'll see what BNBC mentioned about the validity and the issuance time of a special project. The validity of permits from date of issuance according to the clause 3.2.1 BNBC Volume 1, Part 2, Chapter 3. Large and specialized project permit is for 24 months. Disposal of application according to the clause 3.5.1 BNBC Volume 1 Part 2 Chapter 3. Large and specialized project permit maximum time 45 days. Okay. Now I have covered the process flow, application preparation, land use clearance, construction permit, large and special project, and there is also monitoring, level completion and monitoring, and occupancy. I did not go through details in monitoring and level completion certificate and occupancy because those flows are very similar with construction permit. Now we are moving in appeal process, how it works. Sorry, this is the appeal process for LUC. Just give me some time, I'm moving that because it makes some problem. Okay, sorry. This appeal process for construction permit and special project. Actually, the process is very similar, but for construction permit, the role will be started from authorized officer, and for special permit, the role will be started from member development control. But the flow is same. Only the difference is role. So here I am showing the appeal process for special project. That's why the role is here member development control, appellate committee, and chairman chair. After that, depend on the situation, if MDC, member development control, wants, he or she can send the application to director development control and authorized officer, which belongs to the zonal office. Now the functionality. MDC will receive and review the file. This is also very similar process, application preparation process. If anyone go for appeal process, they have to prepare the application preparation. Then they will send it to the front desk. Front desk will receive it if there is no issue, or send front desk will revert the application if the application has some problem. Problem means if the information is wrong or misinformation or wrong attachment. So we hope that the application is correct and front desk will receive it. After that, front desk will send to the file to MDC, and MDC will receive and review the application. MDC means member development control. As per the mandatory flow, member development control will directly send the application to the affiliate committee. Affiliate committee will review the application and take decision about the application. That could be four types of decision. One is for clarification, another approval, third one is approval on condition, and rejection. After that, MDC will obtain the decision of committee, review and issue an approval or rejection letter to the applicant. On the other hand, if the decision is clarification, then MDC will raise applicant for more clarification. Now the process flow in a graphical representation. I want to spend time here because I already explained it. So here the member development control, he will receive the file, he or she will receive the file, review the file, and then if he wants, then he can also send the file to chairman sir. He represent the file to chairman sir. Chairman sir will review it and send it to the member development control. And this flow is optional. If member development control wants, then he can send the file to director development control and authorized officer zonal. And he must send a file to affiliate committee for for a review and make a decision. So affiliate committee will will take the decision for clarification, approval, approve on condition, or rejection, and send it to the member development control. Here, member development control issue later for applicant if there is no problem. Then he will issue approval letter to the applicant. If there is any issue to the file, then he will send the rejection letter to the applicant, and applicant will receive the file to their respective dashboard from ECPS system. And you can see in this stage, member development control can also have the option to want more clarification from the applicant, and applicant will send the clarification to member development control. Now I'll move to another discussion, that is in BNVC Board of Appeal according to the clause 22 BNVC Volume 1 Part 2 Chapter 2. The Board of Appellate shall consist of. So who would be the member of this appellate board, and what would be their educational qualification, their requirement, their duties? That is clearly mentioned in that clause 22 BNVC Volume 1 Part 2 and Chapter 2. Let's move on the next slide. So this is the appeal process for land use clearance. And I actually would like to talk about these two types of process flow in LUC for appeal. One is the appeal process flow to chairman, and another is the appeal process flow to board of secretary. So appeal process to chairman. In this process flow, the role would be town planner, member planning, and chairman, sir. And depend on the situation and other circumstances, deputy town planner from headquarter, assistant town planner from headquarter, draftsman headquarter, surveyor headquarter, and applicant can take place on. Now the functionalities of LUC appeal process and this appeal process for appeal to chairman. First, town planner will receive and review the application. This is also very similar process for application preparation. When an applicant found that his file is rejected, then he have the option to go for appeal. And the first appeal is appeal to chairman. And he will paste some information that is mentioned in the rejection file, why this file is rejected. So the applicant will clarify all the points that have mentioned in that file, and then he will submit the file to front desk, and front desk will review the file. If the file is cleared and there is no information mismatch or no wrong attachment, then he or she will accept the file. Otherwise, he or she will revert the file to the applicant for more clarification or attach right information. And the front desk user will mention what is the reason he or she will revert the application. Now, when front desk user will accept the application will directly reach to the town planner. As per the mandatory flow, town planner will directly send the application to the member planning for review and comments. Member planning will send the application to chairman for decision, namely clarification, approval on condition, and rejection. After that, town planner will obtain the decision from chairman then review and issue an approval or rejection letter to the applicant. Otherwise, there is another option is there. If the decision is clarification, then town planner will reach applicant for more clarification. Let's move on the graphical flow. This is the appeal process to chairman. Here, the process will start from town planner. Town planner will receive the file from front desk. He will review and assign the file to the respective committee. It's a part of mandatory flow. Otherwise, if he needs more comments or assistant, then he or she can send the file to deputy town planner from headquarters. And maybe you have noticed that the appeal process is always played a role from head office personnel, not in zonal or sub-zonal. Here, the deputy town planner from head office, he will review the file and see all the information. And if he requires more information, then he can also assign the file to assistant town planner for clarification and review the file. Then assistant town planner can send the file to draftsman who belongs to head office too, and then surveyor. And again, the file will be moved to the draftsman, then town planner, then deputy town planner, then town planner. And as a mandatory part of this flow, town planner send the file for member planning to review and make comments. Member planning sir will directly directly present the file to chairman sir, and here chairman sir will take some decision. Depends on all the information and the comments. Here there are 4 types of decision he can suggest. One is clarification, another is approval, another is approval on condition, and the 4th one is rejection. So he will submit the decision to the member planning, and member planning will send the file to town planner. Town planner will receive the file and will review the information that have mentioned in the file, the comments from chairman sir, member planning sir, and on that decision, he will issue a letter to the applicant. If there is no problem with the file, then town planning planner will send the file to the applicant. Before that, he will sign the file, that it be digital signature, and the applicant will receive the information from their respective dashboard from ECPS system. And if the file is not approved or rejected, then the applicant will receive the letter, the rejection letter from his respective dashboard. And if it is rejected, then the cause, I mean the reason why the file is rejected should be mentioned in the file. And if the file is approval, then the appeal process is complete. He will go for the next step, that means construction permit. Or if the file is not approved, that means rejected, then the applicant has another option to go for another round of appeal process. This is called appeal to the board. Now I'll move in the next slide to show the another process that is mentioned in 75.2 section, which is appeal to the board. Here, appeal to the board of secretary, LUC. I think we are clear that there are 2 appeal process flow in LUC. One is appeal to the chairman and then appeal to the board. When we will go to the appeal to the board, if chairman sir also rejected the file, then the applicant will have another option to go for board, and this is appeal to board of secretary. Now, who would be the person to work in this system, and what would be the functionalities? Now, the role is town planner, secretary of board, and non-mandatory roles, namely member planning, chairman, and applicant. Functionality. Town planner will receive and review the application. As per the required flow, town planner will directly send the application to the secretary of board. Board will review the application and take decision, namely approval on condition, and rejection. After that, town planner will obtain the decision from board and then review and issue an approval or rejection letter to the applicant. Now we'll go to the graphical presentation of appeal to the board of secretary. Here you can see the process is same, the application preparation process. After receiving the front desk, he or she will submit the file to the town planner. Town planner will receive the file, review the file, and make a request to member planning if required. The green link is mean that optional. So if town planner wants more clarification or more inspection from other roles, for example, member planning, chairman sir, then he can send the file to member planning and chairman sir for review and make comments. So they will send a file to town planner, but the mandatory role part of this process flow is secretary of board. Town planner will send the file to secretary of board, and secretary of board will take three type of decision depend on the file and the information. There are approval on condition, and rejection. So they will make the decision and send the decision to the town planner. Town planner will receive the decision and review the information and then issue letter to the applicant. Before that, if town planner wants more clarification from applicant, he or she can send the file to the applicant for more clarification. Otherwise, he will issue a letter to the applicant. It could be the rejection, it could be the approval, but depends on this decision from secretary of board. And here, if it is approval, then approval or rejection, both of the cases, town planner will digitally sign the paper and send to the applicant. Applicant will log into the system, ECPS system, and he or she can see the file in their dashboard. And this is the end of this appeal process to Board of Secretary. Now, here the BNBC has clearly mentioned who would be the member of the committee and what would be their criteria qualification. That is mentioned in Clause 2, BNBC, Volume 1, Part 2, and Chapter 2. Now, the operation and maintenance of ECPS system. So we have covered all the process flows in our ECPS system. If I recap the process flows again, then I think it would be good for you to remember. First, we covered application preparation. Then we worked on LOC, and then we move on construction permit. After that, special project. Then one by one, we move on appeal process. One appeal process for construction permit and special project. Another one for LUC. There are two type of appeal process for LUC. One is appeal to the chairman, and second one is appeal to the board. Now, there are other processes are also there. LOC renewal. LOC renewal is very similar process like LOC. There is no different information is there. But when applicant will go for LOC renewal, as we already knew that when issue the LOC after 2 years, if applicant will not work or go for any other process, then this 2 years, after the 2 years, the LOC process will be expired. And after that, if applicant wants to work on this LOC, they must go for LOC renewal. And the fee, everything is very same for LOC and LOC renewal. Other process flows, I actually talk about that, the monitoring process flow and level completion and monitoring and the occupancy. That is also very similar with construction permit process flow. And the difference is only between the construction permit and level completion monitoring process is the construction permit, the drawing is attested for different designated professionals. But when the monitoring level completion and monitoring process will start, that drawing would be as built drawing. That is not for new. It would be the as built drawing, and the process will be worked on depend on this as built drawing. So and I already mentioned that in level completion is and every process, every level when applicant will complete, they will apply for new level, and then Rajuk officers will visit and inspect the building and scrutinize all the information that has mentioned in the drawing, in the design. And if there is any anomalies, then they will send the report to the applicant that you made some deviation in this sector, and that is why they can take any other any kind of deviation related restriction like show cause letter they can send, or any type of later or punishment they can actually ask for the applicant. So those are the process flow that I have described earlier. Now we are in the big phase of operation and maintenance of ECPS system. So ECPS solution, ECPS is specific process that 12 process almost we have. Though there are some major process, one is for land use clearance and another one is for construction permit. Land use clearance is actually when applicant will issue a land use clearance, it will valid for 2 years. Within the 2 years, applicant will apply for construction permit, and when they will get the plan pass, they will move for level completion process, and after that occupancy certificate. Is ECP specific e-forms, notification and data models. Here ECPS system we have developed is very user friendly and customized. We have arranged lot of notifications through email or text, and the data model is very user friendly. ECP specific business roles. So the roles we have shown earlier in the process flow, that the work or functionalities that Rajuk end user are currently working on, and the compliance issue we have taken from BNBC. Now ECP system platform, all ECP system components, server side and cloud based support. Here we have kept our data, we use BCC data server, and we also use the dedicated data links, which is called LAN. And we also have Wi-Fi as well, and ICT infrastructure within Rajuk head office and zonal offices. We already configured most of the parts of zonal offices of Rajuk, and still some work are going on in head office and some remote zonal offices. Now, maintenance process of ECPS system. How the maintenance process will be worked in this system? As we know that in the piloting phase and in real life, there will be a lot of problem or issues come up. So we have to handle this system. We already have a very well planned process in ECPS system itself, which is called incident management system. In incident management system, anyone can access this portal. Anyone means who are registered in ECPS system. So I will show this incident management system after some times. So when an issue will come up, then for example, an authorized officer is working and he found some issue, he is not moving on. Then he will directly go to the incident management system. He will issue a problem in that management system, and we have dedicated engineer who is always monitoring the incident management system. When they found any issue is posted, they will diagnose the issue, categorize the issue, and determine the service level required. Depend on this criteria, they will take adequate steps to solve the issue and execute of actual remedial action. Documentation and then closure. Documentation means only they will input the issue, what is the issue and where they got the issue, and then they will attach the screenshot of that particular issue in the incident management system. Now, the service request. Handling of service request. How we will handle the service request? First, we have mentioned that we have a dedicated online portal that is incident management system, which is already incorporated in ECPS system. Otherwise, we have some service provider for receiving the call or online system. Anyone can send email to the respective or responsible person who is assigned to solve these issues. Clarification, categorization, and determination of service level required. Triggering of adequate service level and delivery of actual service. And documentation, then closure. Change control board. I would say this is very important, and I would like to talk about more in this point. Change control board is very, very important. When any issue raised, then we must discuss about the issue. What is the possible solution? Then there would be several solutions, and some person has different opinion and someone has other opinion, and there would be some mixer opinion as well. So in this case, we have to create a change control board, who is already we have in our ECPS system. This board will responsible to check each and every issue that raised in the system, and depend on the issue and the possible solution, they will go through the solution, and they will suggest the best solution among all other the solutions. And the respectable problem solver, that means the engineer or the software engineer who is responsible to solve the issue, they will solve the problem according to the proposed solution that has come from the change control board. This is the main responsibility of change control board, so that we can avoid many comments which one is needed and which one is not. Now let's move to the next slide. Maintenance process of ECPS system. I already talked about this incident management system, so let me make it a little bit bigger. Okay. See, the maintenance process. A virtual help desk is built into the system for automatic registration and tracking of incidents, which ECP users must use to sole channel for communicating incidents, and request phone calls and emails are reserved for emergencies only, so when the system becomes unavailable. Here, that I mentioned, this incident management system is already integrated in the system. If anyone posted the issue through this incident management system, this um, issue automatically assigned to the respective um, engineer who will solve the issue. Sometimes it really hazardous to reach through phone or email. Sometimes human beings are busy with other tasks. Maybe they skip the phone call, or maybe they cannot reach the email for different reasons. So if they have any kind of problem, so that they can send this this issue to the incident management. When when an user will send the incident, the respective or assigned responsible support staff, the responsible staff will receive the issue immediately and make the respective changes. Obviously, it will depends on the category. It will depends on the solution, what solution they will provide. Now, the service provider is responsible for prompt solution of all the reported incidents and keeping records of all related communities. Now the next slide. It is one of my favorite favorite section, I would say, which is audit trails and record management of ECPS system. I would like to talk about the audit trail first. What is audit trail? Audit trail actually keep the all information what activities is going on in ECPS system. It is very essential for, excuse me, for all the systems in ECPS as well. We have very and large audit trail section where we can keep record in form wise, we can keep record in role wise, even in time wise. So is and every information what user are doing is recorded in the system. And if and in ECPS system, the good thing I would say is there is no delete option. If anyone entered any information and if it is wrong information, then they can update the information, but they don't delete the information. And some information user can enter in the system, but they cannot update. At that point, they will request the system admin to change the information with clarification. And system admin will work on that and they will update the information. But every information is recorded in the system, and the update time, who is updating the information, when, what is the information, everything will be in the audit trail. But another information is record management of ECPS system. Record management is very important for this system because sometimes we need to use the same record several times. So we can easily get the record. And it is also worked like store the record for future use or for present the report. When we have lots of information, then sometimes we archive the information. And this record management system is work also like this way, archiving the system. For example, if this ECPS work into 2022 and then we move on 2023, then 2022 information we can record in ECPS system easily. And if we need that information in future, we can easily retrieve from there. And this way, the record management system is used in ECPS system. I just focused on the major functionalities and features of ECPS system, but we also have many more facilities and features in this system as well. Now, I actually go for the next slide, and I think I don't have any more slide in there. And if you have any questions, then you can ask me, or if you want to go me to talk about more in monitoring process, then I can happy to go in that process as well. So now we are moving in question and answer section, and I would like to hand over to
Nagar.
Mr. Rudru here.
Yeah. So I see a lot of questions in the question answer panel. Do you see some of them? Can you open your question answer panel also?
Let me see that one. Yes, I am almost 52 questions are there.
Yeah. So just click on that question and you can just read the question once and then try to answer it. You don't need to answer all the questions. Whatever questions that you see are valid, you can answer those questions.
Okay, great. So the first question I would like to talk about why BNBC restricted the validity of permit. Please explain. Okay, this is very interesting question, I guess. Everything has validity, right? In this world, is there anything which don't have any validity? I guess no. Even if we are born here, we have a limited timeline. We are not immortal. And this validity is required because things are changing. So now we have BNBC rules 2008, and we again built to another BNBC rules is modified into 2020, and there's a lot of changes are there, right? So as per the rules, there's a lot of things has changed in the building structure and many other things. So this validity is restricted because of the people. Actually, when there is a validity, that means these things will strong and safe for those time period. If this is not, then we have to check it again, and then we have to distract, or we have to make for reconstruction. So I think this is the reason for giving the validation period. And I think this question answer to someone who is related to the BNBC rules and this board they are working on. So thank you for the question. If you need more or specific clarification, then please send me the question. I will talk to the respective person and concerned person who is working on this sector especially. I'll talk to them and try to get back to you. Now the next question. When an architect or engineer sign in a construction permit, does it mean he or she takes the responsibility? Yes. The simple answer is yes. In earlier, we can see that they have designed the design, and they after that they are not engaged uh, in this process or construction process. But after this ECPS system, this architect or engineer or the any designated professional related to this application will be engaged with this system all the time. So if any occurrence happened in future, they will be responsible for that as well. Not only for the Rajuk employees, not only for the external organization. So everybody will be responsible for that, and architect engineer will be responsible for that too. Thank you. Now I'm moving on the next question. As you say, ECPS is mandatory for Rajuk related work, but how about those area which are not in Rajuk area? Well, I'm really happy to see these questions. This is absolutely a good questions, I would say. Now we are working on this Dhaka zone, as our PD sir already mentioned everywhere, and the next plan we are covering other zone, other division, other district as well. So now we only have our limitation in Dhaka.
God,
Dhaka
again,
and
can you
Rajuk area,
speak?
but
Sorry, can you speak a little close to the microphone again? Yeah, the end part of the presentation was pretty good. There were no problems with the sound, but you are speaking a little low again.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. And thank you for reminding me. Okay. So the next question, I'm moving on. Oh, sorry. We can barely hear. Okay. The next question, do the whole process has any limited time or will be repeated over time? Well, the whole process means all the process flows. Yes, all the process has a limited time. For example, LOC has 2 years, construction permit has 3 years, and same as the other processes as well. Okay, the next question. If a person built a building without taking permission from Rajuk and after that someone bought it, is he liable for any legal action? Well, thank you for these questions, and this is the common scenario in our Dhaka city right now. But we are working on to stop this situation now. Yes, now maximum area who are going to build a building, they are taking permission from Rajuk. But it is also a real scenario that someone is also not taking the permission yet. But if they are not taking, and in surrounding other person is taking the permission, then they can actually maintain the law, bound to maintain the law. Now, the next question is, at field level, if okay, will you tell me about the special project? Which type of project is under special project? Well, special project actually, some information mentioned in BNBC. This is actually, you can say, one-story building. It's built for, commercial building or construction or any kind of huge development building, but not in, high-rise building or low-rise building. That is considered in special project. Thank you for this question. I'm moving on the next question. Which area is not under Rajuk? Sorry, if Mr. Rudra, I am facing some difficulties to see the question.
Okay, I will read out the questions. So, if the area is
Okay.
not under Rajuk, is the ECPS still applicable for such an area? So, this is the question that you're looking
No,
for.
no, no, no.
Okay,
The answer is no. Thank you.
yes. So, another question is about Rajak's capability. Again, I don't think that is relevant. Um, how will we know the areas that are under Rajuk? So, this is one question.
How will you know the area is under Rajuk? Is that the question?
Yeah.
Well, Rajuk is very organized organization. They actually mentioned they have 8 zone, 24 sub-zone. So, and everything, they have their map in Dhaka city, and their location is identified. So there's a lot of way we can find that that area is under Rajuk or not. Thank you for the question.
When an architect or engineer signs a construction permit, does it mean that he or she takes the responsibility forever, or it is or there is a need to renew it after some period?
Well, I guess I answered the first questions. Yes, they are taking the responsibility for this project they are working on. And the second part is if it takes any renewal or it goes for renewal process, in that case, if applicant wants to stay with that particular engineer, for example, architect or engineer or structural engineer, and if both of the parties have mutual understanding and work together in future, they can stay in renewal process as well. And if they uh, have want to work in different project, or if they don't want to work in that applicant or applicant have the vice versa interest, like he or she doesn't want to work with that particular engineer or the professional, then he can also go for another engineer or architect or a professional in the renewal process as well. Thank you.
Bodhi?
Dr. Ghosh.
Yeah, some of these questions have nothing to do with ECPS and puts her at a disadvantage. So if you read this question one more time, maybe I can try to.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
you can always
thank you.
answer. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, if you, maybe I have, yeah, can you read it one more time, please? The same question about construction permit.
Yeah. So when an architect or engineer signs a construction permit,
Mhm.
does it mean that he or she will take the responsibility forever, or is it needed, or it is needed for them, for him or her to renew it after some period?
Okay, first of all, the engineer or architect does not sign the construction permit. That comes from Rajuk. The owner applies, and the engineer or the architect helps the owner apply. The architect or the engineer signs the drawings and calculations that have to be submitted, but Rajuk issues it. And BNBC tells you that a construction permit has a lifetime of 3 years. So if the structure is not constructed or at least started in that period of time, then the construction permit has to be renewed. So that's about the best answer I can provide.
Okay. So the next
And the previous question about Rajuk's, how someone knows what Rajuk's area is, the one of the better things to do is to go to Rajuk's website, which is pretty good. It is, as Nigar said, the Dhaka metropolitan area. It includes Narayanganj, Savar, and Gazipur. So Dhaka, Narayanganj, Gazipur, and Savar. Basically, that's what the area is. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Ghosh. So let me just filter out the questions that are good. Is it possible to get a better copy of the flowcharts, Nigar?
Yes, we have all the soft copies and we also have the hard copies. And if needed, then I can provide all the soft copies to you so that you can provide them who are
Yeah, Nigar,
asking
what we
for.
can do is that you can send me the PDF copies of that, and I will upload it
Okay.
on the portal. So they will get all the participants will get it along with the webinar material that they have.
That sounds good. I will send you that.
Okay, okay. So that answers that question, and a couple of more questions which are related to that. According to LUC 75.2, who will play the role of secretary of the board?
Well, actually, there will be some information mentioned in B and B. Let me go through that slide. Yeah, this one. Yeah. You can see here who will be that person. In BNBC, it has clearly mentioned that the Board of Appellate shall consist of members appointed by the authority and who are noted for their educations and experience in the relevant field of building construction and whose term of office shall be as decided by the authority. Other points also mentioned in clause 22. Please visit clause 22 BNBC volume 1 part 2 and chapter 2. Everything is clearly mentioned. Who will be the responsible person, what would be their educational qualification and other criteria.
Thanks, Nigar.
Hello.
Yeah. I'm just going through the questions. So few of the questions are very general, like is it mandatory to register in ECPS for structural engineers?
Yes, definitely. Otherwise, how can you work in that system, right? So you have to register the system, and before working on the system, you have to log in all the time in ECPS system. Thank you.
Does the ECPS permitting system need any hard copies to be approved? And how are we
Uh,
now? We are receiving hard copies both. I don't know. I'm the question is not very clear. Uh,
I think I understood what uh, he or she was asking. Actually, no, the CCPS system is totally automation process. So there is no hard copies required for sign or approve or anything else. Everything is went through in ECPS system in a soft copy. And now the current version, maybe there are uh, hard copy they required, but this ECPS system, this hard copy is no longer exist. This is one of our mission as well, paperless office and paperless work. Thank
okay.
you for this question.
Yeah, the next question, I guess even Dr. Ghosh can pitch in. So in this presentation, it is mentioned that buildings lower than 8th floor are defined as low-rise. But in BNBC 2020, low-rise building definition is different. Building height lower than 18 meter are called as low-rise. Is that something that you can address, Nigar?
Yeah, let me jump in here. Yeah, the
Thank you.
discrepancy noted is there, but you will have to go with the definition in the in Rajuk's Bedimala. The Bedimala is being updated now to to be consistent with the 2020 BNBC, and in the updated Bedimala there will be no difference between the Vidimala and the National Building Code. It will be the same definition. So temporarily there is a little bit of a discrepancy. You will have to go with Vidimala. This is Rajuk jurisdiction. But as soon as we go under the updated Vidimala, the discrepancy will disappear.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ghosh. Yeah, I'm just going through the questions again. Most of the questions that have been answered in some way or the other, I'm just skipping them.
I can see one of the question. It is mentioned that from when we will be able to register in ECPS system. Well, thank you for this question. Actually, you can register ECPS system right now. The URL is ecp.uru.gov.bd. Thank you for this question.
Yeah, so that answers the question, when will ECPS be effective?
The answer is very similar.
Yeah,
ECPS
that's
is
what I.
already in the live, but this is the piloting phase. So it means that if it is live, but it is still in testing phase, because you can see the other application as well in Google or any other things. Often you can see there is a beta version or alpha version or anything. This is publicly circulated, but the issue would be there. And this is the reason it's called the piloting. Real user will use the system and there will be issue, then the issue will be fixed. So ECP is still in this position. We are planning for 2 June, and in 2 June there are three, 6 sub-zones. We will pilot the system, and now we are working on that. Thank you.
Thanks, Nigar. We have got LUC, but could not get construction permit. Only 2 months. It's very difficult to understand the questions because of the 24 months validity. So after that, what should we do if we have lost the validity for LUC?
That is difficult for her to answer or for me to answer. Yeah, keep this question aside and
Yeah.
let me try to find an answer from Rajuk. This is a problem. So just as I said, the construction permit has a life of 3 years. The land clearance permit has a life of 2 years.
Yeah.
And
Right.
within that, if he cannot get a permit, then there is a problem. How to resolve that problem, I do not know. But let us try to find out, and if we do find anything out, we will post it on the portal. This is a good question.
Yeah, this is a good question then.
Yeah.
Okay. So what else? Special project has been answered already, so I will.
Don't try to be too selective. If the same thing is done twice, no problem. We have a little time. The questions are very beneficial.
Right,
Right.
right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but most of the questions like are very similar.
No, that's fine. Yeah, I'm just telling you that.
Okay, okay. Yeah, like a few of the questions are I will tell you I will just say a general idea. So a lot of them are asking if all the engineers or engineers who are members of institute need to register on ECPS.
Those who want to submit plans to Rajuk will have to.
Yeah. So okay. Is there any relation of fire design approval, inspection related to that, and occupancy usage certification in this ECPS system?
Read that again.
Is there any relation of, I think, is there any provision, I guess, not relation, is there any provision for fire design approval, inspection related to that, and occupancy usage certification in this ECPS system? I think Nigar can answer this.
Yes, there is a provision for fire related checklist. And this checklist, I think Dr. S.K. Ghosh knows better what are the checklist in fire-related inspection.
Your voice
And,
trailed
and
off, Nigar. I cannot hear you.
okay, okay.
Sorry.
Is that
Now
audible now?
the voice is
Okay.
good. Yeah.
Okay. Actually, yes, there is a provision to include the checklist in ECPS system. As I mentioned, every categories of professional will be part of ECPS system, and individually, everyone has the respective job, and they have the provision to include their checklist in ECPS system. Mostly in there are two processes. One is the level completion and monitoring. They must include the checklist in that process, and there is also occupancy certificate. When applicant will go for occupancy certificate, they actually include all of those safety related checklist in that application. So yes, your question, your answer is yes. Is there any question or?
Yeah.
I can see another question here.
Yeah.
BNBC, which addition, but after that there is nothing mentioned. Only mentioned BNBC which addition. So I don't know what does it mean. Which addition? That means we have BNBC 2020 and we also have BNBC 2008. But the latest one is BNBC 2020. So, Dr. Ghosh, if you want to comment
This
on
is
that.
this is not not that easy to answer. So what I understand is because BNBC 2020 has been gazetted, that is the law of the land, and all submissions should be by BNBC 2020. Having said that, Rajuk's Vidimala has not caught up. It is being processed, but the Vidimala that will be consistent with BNBC 2020 is not ready. So if someone has to submit a permit application today, I suppose it has to be under the current Vidimala, which will take you back to the 2006 BNBC. I do not see what else you will do, because without the Vidimala, you cannot just directly submit using BNBC 2020. So there is a bit of a problem. I think you can try doing BNBC 2020 and comply with the current Vidimala. So the summary of what I'm trying to say is your submission should be according to 2020 BNBC, but because the Vidimala has not been updated, you may have a little bit of a problem doing that. And to the extent that you can do it, try to do it and maybe seek Rajuk's help in the process. Did I
Thank you,
confuse
Dr. Ghosh.
in my...
No, yeah.
No,
I
you were
can see
pretty clear.
another question here.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, yes. I can see another question here. What would be the username when we try to log in? It is the username is name of user or email ID or NID number. Well, that is a good question, I guess. Okay, you can see I have mentioned there are three types of registration process in ECPS system. One is the individual registration, another is the professional registration, and the third one is the Rajuk officer or concerned person registration. For individual registration, it is actually it's your liberty. You can choose any name, but obviously you have to remember this name and the password, right? If you want to enter NID, that's also okay. If you want to enter your nickname or given name, it's also okay. So it's totally depend on you. And for the professional, actually they have a particular format for the membership and the role, and it depends on their the user name and the password they will give it. And for Rajuk user, there is a specific format. So actually in this audience, I don't want to disclose that because this is kind of, restricted information, because there would be some specific format for Rajuk user. And obviously we will use that format for all Rajuk user, but the password will be independent. I mean, that is their own password. So thank you for this question. Let's move on the next question.
I see
And
one.
I'm really sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm really sorry. You have a lot of complaint about my sound. I'm sorry for that. And the next time I will try to use better sound system.
no, I think when
Okay.
you're when you're speaking closer to the mic, it is sounding perfect. There's no problem with the sound.
Thank you for
Okay.
appreciate me.
Yeah. So there is one question that I saw coming up again and again. Is that just a minute? Rajuk, if Rajuk does not take an action for construction permit within the stipulated time, what will be the action in this system? So, according to BNBC 2020, there is a provision of auto approved.
Provision of what?
Being auto approved. Is there any provision like that?
I am not familiar with it.
And I'm also agreed with Dr. Ghosh. In our system, we haven't any information like that.
So what is the recourse? We do not know without asking Rajuk. So put it in the with the
Yeah.
other question,
Okay.
and we will run it by our PIU, and we will try to post answers if we get answers. Hopefully we will.
Okay. Okay. Nigar, can you also explain the topic of creating a focal point and also its functions?
Well, okay, sure, I can do that. Can I share my screen or I will
Yeah,
verbally
you can,
discuss
you
some
can.
of it?
You can say.
Okay, okay. Okay, this is basically the application preparation process flow. Well, here is the functionality of creating a focal point or a team. The process will be initiated from applicant, and he will create a project, and then for this project he will invite the team member. Here you can see the invite team member option. Set project team setup in that form, invite team member. So when applicant will click on that invite team member, I'm saying applicant, that means applicant, landowner, or the other designated person who is work on behalf of applicant. So he or she will click on invite the team member, this option, and then this form will appear. You can see invite professional form. Here we can see two features are there, two fields are there, role and membership. Applicant will select role, and in this role section there will be some roles like engineer, architect, structural engineer, and other plumber or other engineer as well in that list. So applicant will select that particular role and then enter the respective membership norm. For example, for IAB, they have a unique format like C-31, and click on next. Then the information of that particular professional will appear in the system. The information they have provided in their own database. Own database means IAB database or IEB database or IDEB. When applicant will find all the information in the system, then they will click on next button and the information will be sent to the respective professional invitation inbox tab or folder. In the same time, that respective engineer or architect will receive email from ECPS system, and in that email it will be clearly mentioned Mr. some applicant name will invite you to work in ECPS system, and the details of the ECPS system will be mentioned in the email. So the respective professional will register in ECPS system through their email, or if they are already registered, they will click on the ECPS link from the email and they will land it in ECPS system in the invitation page. So in this way, this professional will be integrated in ECPS system. Is that clear? I think this is the process.
Thanks, Nigar. So next question is, as per Rajuk Bidhimala, utility service providers need to check the occupancy certificate. If utility service authorities do not follow Bidhimala, then what is the remedy? Dr. Kos? Dr. Kos, you are muted if you are trying to. Dr. Kos, are you trying to say something, or you're muted?
Yeah, I was muted. Yeah, so some of these questions are definitely not for Nigar and also not for us.
Okay.
If the utility company does not do what they're supposed to do, what the recourse says, I do not know. In this country, it would be to go to a law court and file a suit. And before that, so first thing you try to do is to talk to the utility company, maybe through your lawyer, because that may be more effective than take them to court. This is what we do here in the US. In Bangladesh, the tradition may be different, but without asking, we do not know. We have to probably ask around a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. So this one is a big question, so I will slowly read it. So if a building permit is taken in the tenure of BNBC 2006 for a 6-storied building, and the building owner constructed the building 4-storied. After 4 years, they again they want to complete the remaining 2 stories in the tenure of BNBC 2020. Now, which code, BNBC 2006 or 2020, should be followed?
Yeah, so this is a I would say a very important question. My answer would be this, and I how should I say? I definitely may be wrong. Somebody will correct me. I wish Dr. Rakib were here. So the questions and answers are recorded, so we will have my answer verified. So my answer is this. So if the 4 stories that are constructed already under the old code is an existing building when the new stories are constructed. So you are making a substantial addition to an existing building. That's how the other 2 stories will be treated. So it is not only that the additional stories will have to comply with the new code, but the whole structure will have to comply with the new code because it is a substantial addition. Now, without looking, I do not remember the trigger, like how much of an addition will require the whole building to comply rather than just the addition to comply. But I'm pretty sure that 2 stories added to a 4-story building will trigger the requirement that the entire building comply with the later code, which in this case will be 2020 BNBC. The key thing is the additional stories will be treated as an addition to an existing building, which is the four-story building.
Right.
Thank you.
Is the max. So what is the maximum time period to get a plan approval for building from Rajuk? Is there any rules? Are there any rules or procedures to get the approval for existing buildings?
Well, the first answer is yes, there is a time in our current Vidhimala, being BC 2020, the maximum time is 45 days.
Hmm. Yeah,
Uh,
as
the
far as
second question.
existing buildings go, any substantive thing you want to do to an existing building requires a permit from Rajuk, just like new construction.
Okay, and does the ECPS does the ECPS have any provision? Has any provision for existing building? That is one more question.
Well, actually, if there is any existing building, then no, there is no provision for existing building because, the process is starting from LUC. If you not
Mhm.
have any LUC yet or construction permit. So the construction permit is plan pass, and after that level completion and monitoring. So you already have a existing building. So it's how can you enter this information in ECPS system, right? So there is no provision for existing building.
Thanks, Nigar.
Yeah, this is something we need to look into and follow up on.
Yeah,
Right.
because
What the permit requirements are, and,
in
and,
that case, it has to be done outside of ECPS, right?
well,
All right. Or
we'll have to look into it. But Nigar is right. I mean, to start with, this is for new buildings. They have their hands full with that. I do not think consideration has even been given to, let us
existing.
say, a substantial addition to a building or something like that. So we will have to look into that.
Right, sir.
Yeah, these are very good questions, actually.
Mm.
Yeah. Mm,
I have one question, which is really excellent question, I guess.
Oh,
The
your
question
voice
is,
trailed off again, Nigar.
Okay, sir. I'm really sorry for that.
Sorry too. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, sir. The question is at field level, if any variation done, I think it would be deviation. At field level, if any deviation done by the client, in that case, how can an engineer or architect will take responsibility? Yes, this is a very good question. Actually, yes, if the client done any deviation in construction during the construction, so it is very difficult to find out in earlier version or earlier system. But right now we have a provision level completion certificate. So when a client will create any deviation or make any deviation, then Rajuk officer will visit that site and they will check everything that has mentioned in the design, the architect designed or engineer design or other Noksha, I mean design. And if they get any deviation, they will immediately send the show cause letter to the client. Well, and the client will not move forward without solving that deviation.
Mhm.
So in that case, the architect and engineer will not be responsible for that. Again, if the engineer or architect will involved with a client and they make the deviation, in that case, they are also responsible for doing that mistake.
Dr. Ghosh, do you want to add anything?
No,
Or
what she says is correct. Essentially, the deficiency has to be corrected before they can proceed. And the responsibility remains with the engineer, but provided the deficiency is corrected, and it will have to be corrected if they want to proceed beyond that level.
right. Yeah, just going through the questions.
Mhm.
Without level completion certificate, is it possible to get an occupancy certificate?
No.
So,
No, the answer is no.
so that is crisp. And suppose existing building 4-storied, now owner wants to extend it up to 8 stories, and owner had uh, permitted 8-storied on 2017. Now, is it required to take a fresh permit from Rajuk for this vertical extension?
This was answered, I think, the
Yeah,
previous
it's
question, right?
very similar.
Yeah, yeah, definitely a permit, and chances are extremely high that the whole building has to comply with the new code.
Yeah. What is level completion? Is it structural or finished?
Well, yeah, Dr. Krish, please go
No,
on.
no, go ahead, please, please.
Well, the level completion is, in a words, in everything. It is not only the structural, it is not only the architect, it is not only the engineering portion, it is not only the plumber. Everything is actually the combination of each and every level completion. So please, Dr. Ghosh, if you want to add anything,
Well,
you are.
I don't disagree. It is everything that can be done essentially, but some things cannot be done until the whole structure is completed, like the cladding cannot come on probably, or like there has to be provision for electrical connection, but the electrical connection cannot come until the whole structure is done. So it is not a how should I say, in anything that can be completed has to be completed. That is probably the best answer. And some things that cannot be done until the whole building is completed, obviously, will not be included in level completion.
Right. So there is very generic question, but I think it is good to have that answer.
This is a very good question, and maybe somewhere we have to tie it down little better than we probably have so far. So I will make a note and you make a note, level completion, better define.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we had this discussion ourselves before. So,
Yes, yes,
what exactly is level completion?
yes.
So someone wants to know what is an occupancy certificate. So
Uh, for that, one should go to probably the Vidimala or the code. Occupancy certificate, very simply, is something without which you cannot occupy your building. You cannot put it to use. So that gives you permission to begin to use your building. Until then, you cannot move in.
Exactly. Thank you. Well, I have another question.
Yeah.
And it is Rajuk capable or committed to approve within 45 days for construction permit system? So I think this is a very good question, and I am pretty much sure that they are capable because Rajuk has some excellent officers and they are very energetic and they are very hard worker. So I think they are capable. And we are building this system to do more works, not only for 45 days, we are trying to minimize the timeline as well. So let's see, and I hope for the best within 25 days, they are capable to do that.
And ECPS will help in achieving the 45 days.
Right,
Yeah, that's where the ECPS comes in to reduce the time.
Mhm.
exactly.
Oh, this is a good question. I think in most of the cases, owner doesn't call the engineer during construction. So, is there any provision in ECPS that engineer can declare himself that he is no more with the project? No. Like in general, like is there any provision in ECPS for conversations like that, or with engineer, or some kind of notification from an engineer?
Yes, in ECPS system, Um, actually, it is true. The question he or she asked that first they will design a plan, and after that, that engineer or architect didn't know what is going on. But in ECPS system, in every step, they will be notified through the system by SMS or email, and they will be always with the process until occupancy certificate. So the question, the answer is yes, they will be notified until finishing the system. I mean, when the user will get the occupancy certificate, then they are also relieved from that process. I mean, the project.
Right. So there is a question that engineers or architects do not have any profit from deviation. So why are we responsible? So
Say
I
that
would
again.
guess
Read that again.
engineers or architects do not have do not have any profit from deviation. So why are we responsible?
I do not know why the question of profit comes in, but the basic answer is that all deficiencies, as pointed out earlier, have to be corrected before construction can proceed. So a deficiency is detected in the third story, they cannot proceed to the fourth story before the deficiency is corrected. So the presumption is that when a structure is completed, it will be free of any deficiency or discrepancy, and so the engineer or architect should not have any qualms about owning responsibility. So that's the way the system is supposed to work. Deficiencies
Yeah.
cannot remain by
Right.
the
Yes,
time an occupancy certificate is issued. It's as simple as that. That's not permitted.
right. Thank you, Dr. Ghosh.
And there is again a very general question, and I think so. The question says that is occupancy certificate required for all kinds of buildings? Because nowadays it is not required for all areas or all buildings?
To the best of my knowledge, it is required for all buildings, without which you cannot, whether it's a factory or a hospital or you cannot occupy a building without an occupancy certificate. And hopefully utility connections will not be made without the
Occupancy
utility
certificate.
company checking the occupancy certificate. So
Yeah, you need to check if you don't have the occupancy certificate. So there are a lot of questions coming still. What would happen to all deviated buildings?
that is a question beyond our scope today. There is a whole lot of buildings in existence that are not code compliant, and that that is true not only of Bangladesh. I mean, everywhere in the world there are buildings standing that, forget about code compliance, that are plain unsafe. But to remedy that situation takes political will and a lot of money. And I do not know of any country. Maybe there are small communities here and there, but I do not know of any country that has decided that all deficient building stock shall be rehabilitated. That typically costs a fortune. There are typically other priorities that society faces, a country faces. So I think in our lifetime, this situation will continue. The deviated buildings, so-called, will remain in existence unless a jurisdiction like Rajuk decides on a limited basis that certain glaring deficiencies will have to be corrected within a period of so many years. Those are basically political decisions that will have to come from the right authorities. It is difficult for us to answer this kind of a question. But in general, it is very difficult to make wholesale changes to the existing building stock. Very difficult. Because it is very expensive. And it also causes disruption. Many deficiencies you cannot correct without disturbing the life of the occupants, whether there is a business inside or a family living or whatever, you will disrupt their lives in order to improve the soundness of the structure. And that again takes political clout, political will. So these are very difficult questions for society to deal with.
Thank you, Dr. Gus. What rules will be superseded between Vidhimala or BNBC if there is a conflict?
Say that again.
What rules will be superseded?
Oh, the Vidhimala itself says that the BNBC controls. So, but I think the key thing is that the new Vidhimala that will be consistent with BNBC 2020 will not repeat things that are covered in the code. So the situations of conflict will simply not arise.
Right. When will the level completion visit be done? If the client has any deviation, if the client has done any deviation with the reinforcement, how will it be determined?
Read that again.
When will the level completion visits be done? If the client has any problem, like does any deviation in the reinforcement, like wrong reinforcement or something, how will that be determined?
This is what inspections are for. I don't know about level completion. If there are problems with reinforcement, the inspector should be able to determine that. I do not know what.
I think the and inspection is throughout the project. It is not like
Yes.
just on the level completion time. So that is not clear probably. That's why.
Yes, the primary action would be the inspector will report to the higher authority, and
Right.
the higher authority will submit, I mean, send the show cause letter, and after that, depend on the deviation, the majority of the deviation, they will take the action.
Yeah. So the inspections will be throughout the project. It's not just at the level completion stage.
Right.
The level completion is just that up to that point, then according to all the inspections done and everything is correct, and then you will
Right.
be provided the level completion certificate. So that is how it is.
Yeah, so
Well,
when a level completion certificate is issued based on an inspector's report, the inspector is kind of assuring the owner that up to that point there is no deficiency that he has found. So
right.
that's all it means. Now, when the inspector goes, obviously before certifying that everything is okay, he has to go there. Now, that does not mean that that's the only time he goes. If there is concrete being cast, there should very likely be an inspector on site, or the reinforcement should be checked before the concrete is poured. And it all doesn't have to depend on Rajuk inspector. There is a supervisor on site on behalf of the owner. He is the one that is responsible for making sure that the reinforcement is correct. So if there is deficiency in reinforcement, that should be detected. If it is not detected, then something is very wrong. The whole management of the project is not proper.
Right.
Exactly.
There are a lot of questions still there. Nigar,
Well, I can see another questions. I would like to answer the question. Um, is there any hotline to communicate for the application process? Well, we are always, first of all, yes, there is a hotline, but though it is in piloting phase, that's why we are not actually mentioned in the website, but we are encouraged our user to communicate the issue through our incident management system. But very soon we are going to, you know, we are going to let you know the hotline number. Thank you for this question.
so there is another question saying that ECPS must have an option to mark the involvement or removal of an architect from the construction process. It has
Yes,
yeah.
yes,
It
it
has,
has.
yeah. Okay,
It
it
has
has.
the provision. Sorry. Actually, it has the provision. It is like you have invited an applicant, sorry, an architect or engineer to work with the applicant, the process, the file. So in the middle of the work, it happens, and it is in real life incident that somehow he is not going to carry on the process. So he can inform the applicant that he is not capable to work with this process, or he has some problem. So in that case, applicant will change the architect or engineer, and he or she can invite another architect or engineer in the middle of the process as well. There is no problem with that. Well,
Yeah.
any other questions?
So there is a suggestion. I think there is a need to appoint a third party to ensure quality control during construction. up to the occupancy certificate, they are liable to level completion and occupancy. Yeah.
To the extent that, excuse me, Rajuk may not have manpower to do inspection or plan check, we have recommended recruiting third-party plan checkers and inspectors. I am told that those recommendations will be implemented. So we will see. You may see in the near-term future involvement of third-party plan checkers and inspectors, but that will not affect the way ECPS will work. I do not believe, not in a material way.
Niga, do you want to add anything to it, or?
No, Dr. Ghosh perfectly answered the questions.
There are a lot of questions coming. If we have time to answer all these questions, and yeah, all of them are good questions. They're not like, but I think most of them have been answered one way or the other. So
Yeah, I think it has been an hour or so of
yeah,
give and take.
right.
So I think let us conclude. I'm very happy of this with this participation. The fact that people are attending and asking the questions, this is absolutely wonderful. This is what we are looking for. This will do us a lot of good. And before we conclude today, I would once again like to thank Nigar for her presentation, for coming through for us. And I enjoyed your presentation personally, Nigar. The voice is nice. It trailed off once in a while, but it remained. It was a very nice, well done presentation, and I'm very, very thankful to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your comment. And yeah, I would say it's my pleasure, sir.
Yeah.
And I think we made a good team at the end.
Right, and the question answer session was quite good.
Yeah.
There were a lot of good questions, and yeah, the participation is very good. Thank you so much, everyone. And yeah, so I will open the quiz in couple of minutes, and so you will have a day to submit the quiz, and just take your time, and see you in the next webinar. Thank you so much. Thank you, Nagar. Thanks
Thank
once
you.
again. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Ghosh.
Good night, Nigar. You will sleep much better tonight. After the tension of the I know that we put you through a lot. So
Thank you, sir. Actually, yes, it was because it was not planned, and
yeah, I know.
I was in different type of busy with other activities. So
Yeah,
suddenly, I
all of us. Yeah. No, but it turned out very well. Really, really, very nice.
thank you, sir.
We'll do things together in the future.
Inshallah, we'll do so.
Yeah.
And thank you, Mr. Rodro. You are so nice. You are so kind. Your kind cooperation will help me and encourage me to do and participate in this session. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. So I will be ending this meeting now.
Yeah.
Yeah.